My grandma took me to see the Digimon movie back in 2000 and told me the whole ride home it was shit. If you don't know, I am a huge Digimon fan. I think I was like 4 years old when my parents randomly decided to turn on the TV to Fox Kids that fateful day. Even at that age, I became absolutely enamored with this show. And I was a toddler that was brought up with SpongeBob, Looney Tunes, fucking VeggieTales, for Christ's sake. All very easily digestible entertainment. But I could feel that Digimon was different. And what I realized later on is what separated Digimon from every other piece of media in my life was trauma bombing. The show had no qualms about putting the characters through true adversity. When they failed dismally. It gave the show legitimate tension because we knew the characters were never truly safe. Even though we know they won't die, we sympathize for them on a mental and emotional level that keeps us engaged. On top of that, these kids had real-world issues, and I had never seen that before in kids' media at the time. Matt and TK's parents were divorced, Joe always felt socially anxious and inferior to everyone else, and Mimi was traumatized by everything. But seeing these kids struggle and overcome these crippling hardships time and time again was inspiring to see at such a young age. I've always admired the maturity and humanity the show managed to display in its character writing, despite being a corporate focus group Tamagotchi commercial. So, coming off the heels of a great first season, a mostly good second season, a kick-ass third season, 3 awesome movies, this, and a whole bunch of other stuff, Try obviously had a lot to live up to. Especially considering that this is actually a series of movies with an approximate runtime of an hour and a half each. And given there are 6 of these fuckers, one would hope that this shit would rise to the occasion. Did it live up to all the hype?
No.
Try is not a good show. As a sequel, it's comparable to fan-fiction level writing and littered with some ridiculous character inconsistencies. As a season on its own, it's a rather bland, contrived, unimpressive product. The story gets very convoluted with its lore and succumbs to the tried and true anime tradition of the first half being better than the second half. But I still fucking love it. And that is completely subjective, and there is nothing you can do about it. It's not good, not by a long shot, but I'm such an OG Digimon shill, and Try was center-focused on the 01 cast and their introspective turmoils, and I was sold on that basis alone. And narratively, it doesn't fuck with the canon too much. Like, this in no way breaks the lore or anything. Either way, I'll be addressing the common criticisms this show gets and see if I can further bash it or find some things to defend, or at least try to. The 02 cast being forgotten by the OG Digidestined. Oh god, that was shitty. So shitty. A completely unforgivable oversight on the writers and director's part. It makes the 01 cast look like shallow, superficial, and self-important assholes for just forgetting treating their younger friends. The O2 cast spend the majority of the season in cryosleep and get a goddamn footnote in the epilogue. What in the absolute fucking bollocks? I'm not the biggest fan of them either, except Ken, but they're pretty fucking integral to the plot. But then again, I guess not. And why are you all awful? You're just gonna sit there? You're just gonna forget all you went through with them? Your friends got their asses decked by a fucking feral Digimon. Fuck's wrong with you? Joe purposefully neglected Gomamon and abandoned his friends. I would argue Joe saw himself as mentally unfit to keep on battling, and he hated himself for that. He knew he was betraying his crest and his friends, but he thought he was too useless to help them, and Gomamon was just constantly reminding him of his responsibility he wanted nothing more to do with. He obviously still loves Gomamon, that's why it pains him so much to keep avoiding his obligations. Him being unreliable is the point of his arc. But these traits stem from a feeling of powerlessness. Why is someone as incapable as me tasked with saving the world? I'm better off studying, making my parents proud, my professors and authority figures satisfied, and not pursuing any extraordinary lifestyles. Joe even expresses the problems he has with his character to Mimi, who has similar feelings about herself. It's easily one of the best moments of the season because it gives us more context to Joe's conflict. Even though he realizes how horrible he's being, the massive expectations he's put on himself clouds his judgment, and concludes that he has to grow up, which he calls himself a coward for saying so. I wouldn't call this a stretch of his character, because he was the most apprehensive out of everyone, and now that he's committed to college and focusing on his career, he wouldn't want to return to the harsh, violent world of kaiju battles. If you have a counter-argument, please feel free to comment and we'll have a good old family-friendly internet discussion. Ty having survivor's guilt for some reason. As pointless and monotonous as this was, it's so inconsequential that I can't be fucked to care. It doesn't necessarily betray his character, but it's pretty annoying. Anyway, the animation is bad.
Look at it! Look at it! Look at it!
Biyomon being a bitch for no reason. Why would you write this shit? This is probably the worst part of the show for me, or at the very least a close second. All the other Digimon are willing to be friends after their memories are wiped, so why Biyomon? Why her? Why put Sora through this heartache? Why destroy Biyomon's charitable and motherly personality? Was there no other possible development you could have given them? And it's all for naught. Nothing is gained from this piss-soaked, cum-sock excuse for an arc, because all the other Digimons get their memories back anyway. What the fuck, Toei? Are you trying to alienate your audience? I think you are! Dark Genai. This shit physically hurts me on a deep existential level, and I wish I could unsee it forever. Dark Genai's writing is one of the worst things we as a species have ever produced. He licks Sora like a fucking douchebag. He has the attitude of a goddamn 13-year-old boy. His dialogue is cringy as shit, and I wish him nothing but grief and hardship. Dark Genai is a literal piece of shit, and the fact that they associate this horrible character with the young Genai's image enrages me to no end. What in the goddamn hell were they thinking with this absolute nonsense? Good fucking lord, what a fucking mistake. Here's the thing. I love Kari. She's one of my favorite characters aside from Mimi and Izzy. But this season she was surprisingly underutilized. She's either used as a vessel by a digital entity for exposition or made as the voice of reason. In fact, it's almost comedic how pedestrian it's become for her and the others. Now, this isn't necessarily a disservice to Kari. In fact, considering what she's gone through in the past, it makes sense that she would be the most reserved, quiet, and the wisest of the group, as well as the most desensitized to these cataclysmic circumstances. Since she's already gone through such heavy arcs in Adventure 1 and 2, the writers must have been stumped as to what to challenge her with next. The closest thing she gets to an arc is thinking her brother died, which, to be fair, does lead to one of the most awesome moments in the show when Gatomon Dark evolves into Famimon. Yeah, that was pretty damn awesome. But that arc doesn't really go anywhere. She has a memory of a normal day with Tai absent from it, but that's kinda just that. And then she's sad about Gatomon merging with Piece of Shitmon, and then she sees Gatomon fucking disintegrate, but not really because she gets her back. And that's it! She doesn't really get anything else. So yeah, this was a striking case of wasted potential. But with that said, Kari in no way ruins the season, nor is she a nuisance. She's still extremely likable, and her writing as far as pure dialogue is concerned is on par with everyone else. So I guess that's that. I really don't have that much else to talk about, and Himekawa and Nishijima. Not gonna lie, I didn't mind these guys too much, since it's common knowledge among fans that O2's divisive and subversive epilogue is less than satisfactory. Try and Last Evolution are clear attempts to amend the bizarre and bullshit story choices to make them more sensible. Nishijima is the inspiration for Tai to get into the judicial system and politics and become a lawyer, because he teaches Tai about justice, I guess. And yeah, while it's dumb, it was handled in a fine enough way that it doesn't piss me off. But then, like, Nishijima sacrifices himself to save Tai and the O2 kids, and that's like, it's so fucking predictable. Like, he's a mentor character, of course he's going to die. Himekawa isn't connected to the O2 epilogue, she's a new character. But I actually kinda like how twisted and tragic her arc became. Like, she went to insane lengths to see her Digimon again, and when it doesn't remember her, she just goes fucking crazy and supposedly dies in the dark ocean. Like, damn, that's rough. And she was a part of the generation of original Digidestin long before Tai and the others, so like, wow, you got shits all in the end. Why do all the Digimons look stupid as hell when they're posing? Look at this shit! Look, why is Ikakumon doing a fucking sing-heil? Oh wow, look at you spooky motherfucker, fuck off! What, are you posing for a rap album? Why are some of them hand-drawn and others a CG? What the fuck is this? You wanna fucking explain yourself? Try? I swear to God, Toei, you better not fuck up Last Evolution. When will you return my calls? What? Who are you? TK and the Digimon's not telling anyone about the infection. Oh yeah, no, I agree, they fucking should have. So much could have been avoided if they had just communicated, for fuck's sakes. But I unironically, wholeheartedly forgive it strictly on the basis of it leading to two of my favorite scenes, hands in the air, don't fucking care. This scene between TK and Patamon is probably the best demonstration of these two characters' relationship, and it's incredibly satisfying to watch. After experiencing Angemon's death as a child and being put through such adversity and hardship in the digital world at that age, TK is arguably the most traumatized out of the OG Digidestined, despite his efforts to move on from it. The only one that rivals him on that front is Kari, and it makes perfect sense that he wouldn't want to face the reality of his best friend dying again. The way they embrace each other for hours, savoring every last moment they have together, is one of the most precious things this season accomplished, and I'm so happy they did this. And and the scene where Hercules Gabuterimon tries to awaken all of his fellow monsters from the infection, but end up getting engulfed by the reboot, was the emotional peak of this show for me. The unbreaking silence that follows was a magnificent way of conveying the severity and weight of what just happened. Their friends are gone. The very thing that Izzy drove himself mad trying to prevent, what sent TK into denial and dread, what all the Digimons tried desperately to optimistically push through and make their human companions happy regardless of this dismal knowledge, has taken everything from them in a single fleeting second. And all you see is the visceral shock, horror, and sadness that falls upon the characters. Combine that with each of the Digidestined having their own unique heart-to-hearts with their monsters and the build-up to this eventual system reboot, along with the wonderful dialogue and interaction that follows, and you have what is easily one of my favorite arcs throughout the whole franchise. Everything in this show leading up to this moment had me hooked like a fucking sucker. That shit chilled me to my fucking core. I acknowledge the season's shortcomings, its inconsistencies and narrative flaws, but if a bunch of people can still love TLJ despite that being a writing nightmare, then I can sure as shit love this writing nightmare. Here's what I personally got out of the season. Seeing this original cast all grown up, facing similar struggles and insecurities I was facing in my early adulthood, made me feel that these characters really did age with me. I related so hard to them, Joe and Mimi especially. In fact, they were my favorite characters in the season, aside from Izzy, of course. For all its faults, Tri still manages to capture that somber, existential, and unsure essence of transitioning into adulthood. Characters that lived such free and chaotic lives are now forced to adjust to real-world consequences, trials, and tribulations. And from an individual character standpoint, it was handled with that familiar maturity previous seasons had. It's a more intimate look into the core of who these characters are and how they deal with the uncertainty of having their whole lives ahead of them when they've already lived through the peak of their adventures. As a sequel, it trips right over itself, but as a tribute to the OG characters, I found it rather endearing. If you hate it, you're very justified for hating it. It's an objectively bad season. But whether something is objectively good or bad doesn't mean you have to love it or hate it. There are plenty of shitty movies and TV shows that I get immense enjoyment out of, and there are some incredible movies that I'm not that crazy about. It all comes down to how many dicks you can fit in your ass. And that concludes my review of Digimon Tri. Oh, I almost forgot.
Y'all are fucking trash. Y'all are fucking trash. Y'all are fucking trash.
May sucks. She just sucks. And her fucking OC deviant art ass over-designed shitty fucking whiny as all fuck Digimon sucks too. These two should not fucking be here. End of fucking story. I am so over this self-insert bullshit. It just neuters every single show it's in. May is the origin of all this season's problems. Oh look, she has an innocent Digimon that gets corrupted by some fucking dial-up or whatever, goes rogue, kills other Digimon, threatens the balance of the world, and then dies. Haven't seen that before. Oh look, May is going to be forcefully shipped with Tai and or Matt, cause Sora and Matt divorce in the future. Like, whatever, right? Oh hey, May is taking Kari's well-earned spot several fucking times! Well, howdy doodly diddly doddly do! May's arc includes a meta-narrative in which she feels like the most useless one of the group when the writers made no effort to make her useful to the group. Instead, she's a magnet for fucking tragedy! Justice for Leomon! Well, it looks like we'll have to wait an extra fucking while for Last Evolution, but at least we still have Jesus. Submit to Jesus, you heathens, or you're not invited to my birthday.